What's up, Magic Makers? Drew here. And before we get into it, I kind of want to give a little disclaimer. Okay, this is not hoodoo related at all. I have never studied hoodoo. I do have a couple books that are about hoodoo, but one in particular. And I think my husband has a couple. But I can't get into it. Like, I just wanted to study it, not because I necessarily wanted to do it, but I just like to learn about other practices and traditions. At least just, a tiny bit, but I know nothing about hoodoo. I respect it. It's just not for me, which, is probably best. I don't know. At any rate, my point is I have very limited knowledge of hoodoo. And if I do know things about hoodoo, they weren't presented to me as this is hoodoo. So I don't even know. I don't know. What I'm doing, I believe, comes from hoodoo. The honey jar, I don't know. That's the impression I get. I want to sweeten something. I have something that I want to make sweeter. So my mind automatically goes to honey. That is purely because I have a deep affinity and affection for bees. I work with beeswax, not just in magic, but like everyday stuff. I just really love beeswax, and honey. So, of course, the first place my brain goes for sweet is honey. And that's not the only, honey has the consistency I'm looking for too, right? So I am making a honey jar, but this is purely coming from my intuition, my brain, using the things that I'm comfortable with, that make sense to me, that call to me for this particular working, and doing it the way that I feel called to do it. I just want everybody to know that this is completely not hoodoo related, at least not intentionally in any way, shape, or form. Okay, if you don't know about honey jars or sweetening jars, there's a million different videos or, blogs. There's so much information out there. From a more, traditional standpoint, I don't really know. So this video is titled Puppy Love Honey Jar. Not because I'm going to be doing any kind of working that relates to romance, but literally because it's for one of my dogs. I have two dogs. We have Judah, and she's hating this right now. This is Judah Marie Rodriguez. Isn't she cute? She's very not happy. This dog, honey, you're on my mic. Sit down. Yes, I love you. I love you. I love you so much. Okay, this is the sweetest dog on the planet. She is a Frenchton, which is half French Bulldog, half Boston Terrier. She's 4 years old, and look at this baby. I can get anything I want to her. She doesn't care. Mwah. She's a sweetheart. Just the best dog in the world. She snorts a lot. And then we have Paco the Taco Rodriguez, who also is not thrilled about what's happening, but he's being very good. Paco is a Chihuahua. He is 7 years old. He's a rather large Chihuahua. His legs are very long. He is what is referred to... did you hear that? Do you hear that? He's referred to as a deer-legged Chihuahua, and I guess long ago they all looked like that, and then of course people did what they did, which we would have had to bred them down to that, I guess, maybe in the first place. But anyway, now we have, the little apple-headed ones that are like this big, because we bred them that way. If any of you have ever been around a Chihuahua, you know that sometimes they have Napoleon complexes. I don't even know if that's what it is with him. He just genuinely does not realize that he's a small dog. We've had big dogs in the neighborhood come to the yard, and he's gonna fight them. He doesn't want them anywhere. Like, he's not afraid. Everybody in this house has been bitten by him at least once. He doesn't bite hard enough to break the skin, fortunately, but it still hurts. Not only has everyone in the family been bitten, extended family, many of them have been bitten. Friends who've come to visit have been bitten. Strangers have been bitten. One time, I went to pick my husband up. The business that he worked for, the office, was over on the beach. And I went over to pick him up, and there was this big St. Patrick's Day festival on the beach that they have every year, and there's just a bunch of drunks wandering around, and a group of drunks made their way upon me and saw my cute little dog in my car. And one of them, even though I said, don't touch him, he'll bite, and he was wearing a muzzle, decided he was going to touch him anyway, and he bit him even with the muzzle on. Yes, I muzzle my dog. He doesn't need to be muzzled to be bathed, though he does bite you every time you try to dry him after a bath, or at least he tries to bite you. Needless to say, he doesn't get dried very well. I clip his toenails, I muzzle him. I take him to the vet, I muzzle him. If I have to give him any kind of medication or anything, I muzzle him, unless it's like something that he can chew and eat himself. One time he had a scratch on his cornea, and I had to put drops in. I had to muzzle him twice a day to put drops in his eyes. He's just an aggressive, well, he can be a little dick. This started when he was 6 months old. He was sweet, he was lovely, and suddenly, when he was 6 months old, he was a monster. And the vet suggested having him neutered early, which he was neutered at 7 months, did not help. She also suggested that we handle him with oven mitts, which we did for a while when he was a puppy, otherwise we'd get bitten if we had to pick him up and do things with him. If you show any kind of aggression toward him, I mean, even just excuse me, like, he is going to get very combative and very nasty. I will say this. I know 99% of the time when my dog is going to bite. I can tell. He gives signals. And I tell people, I tell everybody, don't touch my dog, he'll bite you. But you wouldn't believe how many people are just like, oh no, I'm really good with dogs, and get bit anyway. It's amazing. If anybody were his person, it's me, and he's bitten me. He's not allowed on the furniture. There's one chair that he can get in. He's not allowed on any of the furniture because he bites. He isn't allowed to sleep in the bed with us because he bites my husband every time my husband rolls over. Oh, now you're going to behave? The reason this is a problem, really, for me, I mean, for me, he's a living thing. He's allowed to have his personality. And if he doesn't want people messing with him, his only recourse is to growl, snap, bite. If somebody's in my face doing something to me I don't like, I'm going to growl, snap, and bite too. So I don't really have a problem with it for the most part. It's unfortunate because it's not just if you're messing with him. He's at my feet right now. Well, he's a little ways away from me, but I put my foot close to him. He didn't growl or bark or anything, but he looked at me like, he looked at my foot like, we're going to have a problem. Again, I can read his subtle cues. But normally, he'll lay near somebody's feet, somewhere in the living room, mine, my husband's, one of the boys. And if they just slightly move their foot, just unconsciously, not even just moving their foot, readjusting, he'll freak out. And there's this loud yippy bark and a snarl, and he will even bite, though it's usually more noise and reaction than actual biting. This is part of his personality. Like I said, he's 7 years old. He's always been this way since he was 6 months old. We're kind of used to it. Anytime somebody goes to leave the house, he freaks out. He's barking. He's spinning in circles. He's biting at ankles. He has bitten many an ankle on the way out the door.
Let's see what's up. Try to get this one done and come back.
He's a very anxious, high-strung dog, and we have tried, like rescue remedies, sort of things to alleviate the anxiety, and none of them have worked. And I don't want to medicate my dog, honestly. He's a dog. Yeah, he's a bit neurotic, but whatever. At the end of the day, I love and accept him as he is. And I feel like just because he's a dog doesn't mean that I get to dictate the way that he behaves or presents his personality, his attitude, or whatever. And so I'm not interested in getting him, obviously he's 7. I've never had him trained or whatever. He listens. He's well trained, and he listens very well to me for the most part. It's like he has anxiety or something. He can't control it. He freaks out, right? Fine. It's annoying. It gets on our nerves really bad. It would be nice if it wasn't the case, for sure. But it's who he is. It's fine. We accept that. More importantly than that, I showed you Judah. She is the most loving thing. I'll throw her in the crook of my arm and rub her chest and get in her face and smoosh and kiss and just, I can do anything I want to her. Any of us can. And she is a breed of dog, both breeds that she is actually need attention. They thrive on contact and relationships with other animals or people or whatever. So she is a lovey thing. She sleeps in the bed with us. She's always on a piece of furniture, typically the love seat with me and my husband. She is just the sweetest, most lovable thing. And he has to see this. He has to see her be loved on and be sweet and just get all this attention all the time. And it's unfortunate because most of the time he just ignores it. But sometimes you see it in his little face. Like he's jealous and he's sad. And that's sad because if you try to give him attention, he's going to bite you. He will come to you with like the Puss in Boots eyes, the big sad eyes. And please love me, touch me. And you'll love him, touch him. Now we all know you only do it for a minute. I mean, literally 60 seconds at most. And then you stop and you tell him to go on his way. And 5 minutes later, he can come back and get another minute, but you can't go over a minute or so because if you do, he's going to bite you. He can't help it. He'll be loving what you're doing. And then all of a sudden he just goes at you. And it makes me feel horrible for him. I feel horrible for him. We cannot love him the way that we do her at all. Even in a gentle way, you just can't because he can't handle more than a minute before he's ready to bite and he's done. Even though he wants it, he's neurotic. I don't know. So the other day I was sitting with my dogs and I talked to my dogs. Well, it wasn't the other day. It was a little bit ago now. For whatever reason, I had the song. I was drinking out of one of my mugs and it says, I put a spell on you. I was drinking tea. And I started singing the song, I'll put a spell on you. And I sing to my dog, Judah. She loves that. She gets all excited because I say her name in songs and she knows her name. So I was singing it to her and I was like, I would never put a spell on you. And then I looked over at Paco and I was like, I never put a spell. And I just stopped and I was like, oh my God. Why have I never put a spell on this dog? Why have I never tried to work magic on this dog to help him be a little less maybe neurotic? I don't know how else to describe his behavior. It's compulsive and he can't control it. I don't think he wants to be that way because again, he would love somebody to pet all over him, but then he looks like he would love to get the kind of attention that Judah does, but he just can't handle it. So immediately, honey jar, sweetening spell. I need to do a honey jar on my dog. So it's my puppy love honey jar, and this may be something, I continue to work on because my fear is that he's only going to get worse. He's 7. We tend to get crotchety in old age. I don't want him to become worse. I would rather him mellow with age. So this is what I'm working on. I'm starting now with this honey jar and I will continue to put effort and energy into this, not only for us, but for him because I love him, even if he is a little butthole. So here, I'm getting ready to share with you the making of my puppy love honey jar. I hope you enjoy. I'm filming it here in the studio as the lighting is better and I can set up my arm and my worktop is glass and I don't have to worry about any mess. And it's just going to make things easier in general, but for showing here on my channel. So I have all of my ingredients and components that I will need set up and ready to go. And my arm is up here, which will make it easy for me to share all of that with you. Okay, so here we are. I'm starting from scratch, so I'm gonna smudge everything, cast circle, and then we'll get into it. I love this little torch lighter. It's refillable, and it's great for lighting big smoke wands. I know you can see on my polymer through my table, my worktop, my desk. Normally I would put something down, but just ignore it, okay? Okay, I think everything is in frame now. So I have some honey. Obviously, That is the base of the spell. It is to hold everything together. And it is to bring the sweetness, to sweeten up my little pooch. Right here I have some apple blossom, and I'm going to be using these for love, friendship, happiness, and harmony. Here is some lavender. I'm using this for happiness, peace, love, and longevity. I want this to last. I've got a little piece of orange here for happiness, love, and joy. And oranges are obviously sweet, typically. Right here is some balm of Gilead. It's for manifestation and love in this working. I have some hibiscus. I'm using them for love and harmony. I've got a little bit of saltpeter here, and it is good for love workings, but I'm really using it for its fast action properties. It makes things happen quickly. It gets things going. That's what I'm looking for, but the love aspect is nice as well. Here I have a little piece of rose quartz. I think it's pretty self-explanatory why, but you know, love, friendship, all that good stuff. And then in here, I have 3 of my dog's toenails, Paco's, and 3 of his hairs that I will be putting in as well, just to have some of him in there. I will not be writing a petition. I don't feel called to do so. I think it's pretty self-explanatory what's happening here, particularly since I have his actual DNA in the jar. I know what it's for, and I will be feeding that intent into it anytime I see it. So I haven't decided where I'm going to keep it, though. I want to start my jar by putting herbs in first. I don't know. I'm just going to do this, guys, so I don't really know. Okay. You can hear my dogs barking. I apologize. I don't know if I'm going to put everything in and then put the honey in. I don't know how this is going to work yet. I'm just kind of pouring it all in. And I'm thinking about what it is I want to happen. I'm going to feed energy and intent into this, and I'm actually going to do some breath work with it. Breathe some of my intention in, and then I want to sort of mix it gently. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. This feels really good, guys. It feels good. You know, sometimes when you do a working, it just automatically feels good. It feels, yeah. So that's what I'm getting here. I don't know where this is going to live permanently, but for now, I am going to put it on my altar and let it charge there. I keep a lot of these little, I laminate them, and they're different symbols that I use in charging in particular. I don't know. I might use this one. This is one of Solomon's seals, and it's the 9th seal, and it's for treating all kinds of disease and pain. Now, technically, it is not disease or pain that is afflicting my dog, but I do believe that there may be some mental issue, there's trauma, there's something happening with my dog that makes him behave the way he does. The only trauma I know of is when he was a puppy, something that happened at the vets. You know, sometimes those kinds of invasive procedures can be traumatic. But who knows? I don't know why he is, you know. But I think I'm going to charge it on this seal because, you know, mental and emotional traumas and issues are also things that need to be healed, and they do cause pain. And so I think that's the one I'm going to go with. So I will put this on my altar just like this, with the intent that the seal charges the jar and that it is tied to my dog Paco, and hopefully we will see some results. And even if we don't, like I said, I'm going to continue on this vein because I want my dog to have a better quality of life. Even though, I mean, he has a good life, but I just want him to chill out and to feel better and to be happier. So all that said, Thank you for watching, and I hope it was coherent and that it wasn't too boring. And until next time, much love and gratitude.